Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of buying and or renting a home. Like buying a house is seems so overwhelming, right? Like there's this overwhelming thing that, buying a house is so scary. So there's always an opportunity to rent a home, right? And a lot of people use that. So the first pro of renting a home, you don't have to really worry about major repairs on the home. Generally, that's covered by the landlord, right? So, if the roof starts leaking, the landlord generally is responsible for covering that, And so that's a huge pro for renting a house, because on the opposite side, a con for buying a house is that you've got to live up to the maintenance of maintaining that home. Like when the roof's leaking, you got to get it fixed. When the basement's leaking, you got to get it fixed. When the driveway cracks, you need to seal it. There's so many things that you got to do. So that technically is a con for buying a home. Okay. So the second pro, let's talk about the second pro for renting a home. Lives change and opportunities change. You're not really tied to a location. So I think that's a pro, right? You don't have to stay there. What do you think, James? You think that's a pro, right?
Don't you have to sign leases?
You do, but generally they're like a year, and then you got after that you've got some month or two or whatever that they go month to month after that, right? So, but a year's lease, that's not a long time if you think about it. When you're old like me, it's not that bad, like a year time kind of flies by. But and again, on the buy side, you're obligated to purchase that house. You're going to probably have a mortgage on it for 30 years, give or take, right? So I don't know if that's a con or not, but at the end of the day, it is. I guess I should have put a sign on the door. Somebody's knocking on our door. So basically, we got two pros, two cons, and they're both opposite. So right now, it sounds like renting is the way to go, right? Like at the end of the day. So, but here's the biggest con for renting. It's not yours, right? It's not yours. You put holes in the wall, you got to fix them. You really can only do so much to that home. When you buy a home, that's your baby, right? You want to paint it purple, pink, yellow, green, whatever you want to do to it. You want to stipple the walls, the ceilings, whatever. You want to change the light fixtures. That's on you, and that gives you complete control over your home, right? That's your baby. And I think that's super important, that feeling of home ownership versus renting a place just makes such a big difference, I think. But look, I don't want to sound like, I'm a real estate agent, right? So at the end of the day, I'm going to want you to buy a house, but I'll help you rent a house too. But it's got to be what's right for you. A big thing, a lot of people, especially military, like when they relocate to a certain area, they rent the property, so they're not obligated to that house for the next 30 years. Like they come in and they can stay there for a short period of time. Now, another con for renting, if we were to put another one on there, is remember that you're paying the mortgage for the landlord. So you're paying their mortgage, where if you were buying something, that money would be going to you. And remember we talked about before, the equity, which is the value of your home, increases year over year generally. You don't have that benefit when you're renting. You get it when you're buying. Honestly, there's also so many pros and cons. I see a lot of pros to renting properties, right? Like if you want to experiment with an area that you're not really familiar with, and you've explored the area and you're like, I want to be comfortable where I am. Renting is a great option. You spend a year there and you're like, you know what? I don't really want this. I want to be more on a farm, or I want to be further away. I want to be closer to the city. I want to be further away from the city. But either one of those things actually works really well for a renter. But once you buy a house, you're kind of obligated. So I don't know if it's a negative or a positive, but at the end of the day, you're going to choose what's right for you. And I believe there's a place for everybody. Like there's people that want to rent, there's people that want to live in it and buy a house. So hopefully this was kind of some information that you can use in deciding whether you want to, if you want to rent, or if you're debating. Really, it's probably about if you're debating to buy a house. Buying a house is a huge opportunity for you, and I think everybody's debating between rentals and selling. It's a challenge, but I've never heard anybody who bought a house that wasn't completely thrilled with buying a house. And but most of the time rentals are shorter term and you're not as obligated to them. So with that, guys, I hope this information was helpful. And I'm probably just chit-chatting with you, to be honest with you. But hopefully it's something that you can use and think about what you're doing, what your decision-making process is. But if it was in any way, please like, subscribe, hit the little bell button, and let us know what you think. So thank you guys, and see you next time.